He earned millions in blood, then vanished. Joe Lawson looks like your IT guy, talks like your coworker, fights like a complete maniac. Let me tell you how this nerdy-looking dude became one of the most violent and beloved lightweights in UFC history without ever winning a belt, begging for the spotlight, or even saying goodbye. Early life, from code to combat. Let's rewind. Joe Lawson didn't come up through some elite gym or childhood wrestling dynasty. He wasn't flipping kids in judo class at 5 or winning national championships by 12. He was just a regular guy from Massachusetts, nerdy, quiet, and more interested in coding than combat. He studied computer science, fixed bugs, and built software. He was one monitor away from a desk job at Google. But here's the twist. The dude could fight, not like backyard scuffles or bar fights. I'm talking 8 straight stoppage wins before he even stepped foot in the UFC. Back then, MMA wasn't what it is today. There was no ESPN coverage, no mainstream attention. It was still underground, still raw, and Joe was in it because he loved the chaos. Fighting wasn't his career, it was his hobby, and he was damn good at it. UFC debut pulverized expectations. Then came the big call. His UFC debut was against Jens Pulver, a former lightweight champion, a guy who had fought legends. Nobody gave Joe a chance. He was just supposed to show up, lose, and go back to fixing printers. Instead, 48 seconds. That's how long it took for Joe to flatten Pulver with an overhand right and finish him on the ground. Just like that, this unassuming programmer put the whole division on notice. It wasn't a lucky punch. It was Joe Lawson announcing his arrival brutally. Ultimate Fighter and rise to cult status. From there, the ride started. He got on The Ultimate Fighter, Season 5, aka the Stacked Season. BJ Pennsylvania Nate Diaz, Gray Maynard, Manny Gamburian. It was a Shark Tank. And guess what? Joe swam just fine. He wasn't flashy outside the cage. No trash talk. No hype. But when that cage door shut, he brought the storm. Pressure, scrambles, submissions, weird angles. Joe was a problem. Dana White called him the most exciting fighter in the lightweight division. And you know what? That wasn't just hype. It was a fact. Fighting style. Chaos over calculations. Because when Joe fought, something happened. You never got a slow Joe Lawson fight, ever. The guy didn't coast. He didn't play it safe. He went in swinging. And if you blinked, you might miss the whole thing. That kind of style? It's not built for long careers. It's built for chaos. And Joe was chaos personified. He didn't just fight. He bled for it. He traded damage for entertainment. He fought like every night was his last shot, even when it wasn't. That's why fans loved him. That's why Dana kept calling. Dual life. Fighter and coach. Now, most fighters have one path. They train, fight, recover, repeat. But Joe, he had 2 lives. He was a fighter and a coach and a gym owner and a programmer. He didn't quit his day job right away. He trained fighters during the day, coached classes, and then prepped for wars inside the cage. Lawson MMA wasn't just a gym. It was a launch pad. He trained young killers while still throwing down in the octagon himself. That kind of grind? It's rare. Signature moments and bonus machine. Joe's striking? Awkward, unorthodox, but sneaky. He'd hit you with something weird, then shoot a double leg while you were still processing. His grappling? Filthy. Sneaky submissions, lightning-fast transitions, and a jiu-jitsu IQ off the charts. Kimuras, triangles, arm bars, you name it, he'd grab it. His ground game was a highlight reel. And the fans noticed. Oh, they noticed. 15 post-fight bonuses. That's tied for the second most in UFC history. Not just for lightweights, for everyone. That's not a fluke. That's a guy showing up to perform. Every Joe fight was a ride. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost, but it was never boring. Look at the Jim Miller trilogy. Their first fight, bloodbath, absolute war. One of the bloodiest 3-round fights ever. By round 2, the mat looked like a crime scene. Joe didn't quit. He pushed forward, kept throwing, kept scrapping. He lost the decision. Nobody cared. That fight made him a cult hero. Decline. The body starts talking. But that style takes a toll. Joe's face? A roadmap of scars. His body? Beat up from years of chaos. By his early 30s, it was obvious. The damage had caught up. Slower reflexes, tougher recoveries, and sparring sessions that felt heavier. The spark was still there, but the engine was wearing down. Then came 2018. He fought Stevie Ray, mid-tier guy. Joe didn't look like Joe. He was slower, getting touched up. The takedowns weren't landing. The fans started asking, is this the end? Final act. The perfect exit. But then, the final act. Boston, his hometown. He walked out for what might have been his final UFC fight. No big announcement, just business as usual. Opponent? Jonathan Pierce. Young prospect. This was supposed to be a passing of the torch fight. Joe lit that torch on fire. First round, vintage Joe, clinch, trip, full mount, submission crank that looked like it belonged in a medieval torture chamber. Done. The crowd went nuts. Commentators lost their minds. Joe looked 10 years younger. It was the perfect send-off. And he said nothing. No speech, no retirement talk, just walked out like it was another shift. Classic Lausanne, the unfinished fight and quiet exit. Then came the Donald Cerrone booking. Two legends, two action heroes. No belt, no drama, just a fight the fans needed. But the MMA gods had other plans. Injury, delay, reschedule, delay again, and then canceled. Forever. Dana even said, we're not booking that fight again. It became the lost matchup, like Tony versus Khabib, only without the memes. And that's when Joe went quiet. He didn't ask for a replacement, didn't tweet about another comeback. He just ghosted. No media tour, no complaints, just disappeared. Aftermath. Legacy without flash. Go check his social media. No retirement post. No thanks for the memories. Just gym updates and training clips. He didn't need to say anything. He'd already said it all with his fists. And the UFC didn't say anything either. No tribute, no retirement nod, no Hall of Fame buzz. One of the most entertaining lightweights ever, and nothing. But fans noticed. Oh, they noticed. Reddit threads started popping up. Wait, is Joe done? MMA Twitter started posting throwback clips. People felt it, like something was missing. Fighters with half his resume get tribute reels and press conferences. Joe just faded out. Quiet, humble, unbothered. Stats and accomplishments. Now let's look at the numbers. Joe Lauzon finished his career with 29 wins and 16 losses, a record filled with wars, upsets, and moments that made fans leap off their couches. Of those, 27 were inside the UFC octagon, a testament to his consistency and longevity in the most cutthroat organization in MMA. He racked up 15 post-fight bonuses, tying him for the second most in UFC history. That's not just a paycheck. That's proof that every time Joe stepped in the cage, fans were in for a show. And when it came to finishes, Joe wasn't just good. He was historic. He owns 13 UFC finishes, the most ever in the lightweight division. Let that sink in. More than BJ Penn. More than Frankie Edgar, more than Khabib. That's not just impressive, that's legacy. And these weren't padded wins either. We're talking about real killers. Jens Pulver, a former UFC champ. Melvin Guillard, one of the most dangerous punchers at lightweight. Jamie Varner, a WEC champ. Michael Chiesa, a future top contender. Joe didn't duck tough fights. He ran straight at them. That's what made Joe Lauzon unforgettable. Not just the stats, but the way he earned every single one. Business mindset, the exit plan. And don't forget the money. Those bonuses? likely close to $1 million in extra income, and he didn't blow it. He was still working tech jobs during training camps. He started Lausanne MMA while still fighting. That wasn't a hobby. That was his exit plan, built while he was still in the cage. Most fighters wait too long. Joe didn't. He had the next chapter ready. Teaching, coaching, mentoring. His gym is thriving. His fighters are rising. He's still in the fight game, just not getting punched in the face anymore. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? So, should Joe be in the UFC Hall of Fame? Depends on who you ask. No title, no main event run, but 15 bonuses? Most lightweight finishes ever? That's hall-worthy to a lot of fans. He didn't chase greatness through belts. He chased moments, and he gave us more than most ever will. Joe made being a fighter look painful, yes, but also thrilling and strangely fun. He didn't protect his record. He protected our excitement. So yeah, Joe Lauzon might not be on the lightweight Mount Rushmore, but he's somewhere on the mountain. And when fans talk about who they loved watching, his name always comes up. He gave everything, then he dipped quietly, cleanly, like he was clocking out of his shift at Best Buy. And maybe that's exactly how he wanted it. Because while the UFC never gave him his big moment, he gave us 100 of them. If you liked this video, smash that like button. Drop a comment with your favorite Joe Lauzon moment, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the fighters who made MMA unforgettable.